So the big question is this: how are commercial real estate brokers like us, who didn't take on debt to start their own brokerage, who are stuck in the hamster wheel of day-to-day selling, how do we sell real estate and build our businesses in a way that lets us develop rockstar teammates and create enough leverage to back away from day-to-day selling? How do we get our services, ideas, and insights out into the world and yet still create passive wealth? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Brett Swarts, and welcome to the Expert Commercial Real Estate Secrets Podcast. So on this episode, I'm excited. I've just started a brand new strategic alliance, and I'm so excited to announce it here live on Facebook. And the last part of our vision is passive income plans achievable. So this particular episode is going to be focused on the realtor, and not just the residential realtor, but also the commercial realtor. Okay, and those who have sold real estate and who are professionals and are looking for maybe a new model, a new way to do things. I'm so excited to bring on my now new strategic partner as our commercial real estate arm of our business has now joined EXP. And so with that, Matthew Stewart comes with 20 plus years of real estate experience. We have a background of over 10 years of playing basketball together here locally. He was the golf coach at William Jessup University, and where I had a chance to play basketball. And so we have a long standing friendship, and there's just so much to share. So I'm going to dive right in with Matt. Hey, Matt, how you doing today?
I am blessed. So Brett, is this the big reveal for you? Did I hear that right?
I guess it is, I haven't really announced it, I guess, officially, but yeah, I would say this is kind of the official announcement for everybody.
Well, I'm honored.
I've told some friends and stuff, but yeah, the main focus is capital gains tax solutions, right? And offering the Deferred Sales Trust and talking about those things. But along the lines, I also do help clients, friends, and family sell real estate, mainly multifamily here in Sacramento. And so now with this strategic alliance, it just kind of really fits. Based upon the culture and the leadership and the team that we have in place here in Sacramento. I mean, we literally now, one of the biggest reasons was Tom Daves, one of the top realtors in Keller Williams history, is a part of the bigger team, and then Brent Grove, and then Don Yoakum, and then of course you, Matt, as a part of kind of the inner circle, if you will. Yeah. So, but before we get into all of that, how about we just start with your story, Matt? Give us listeners a little bit about your story and then your current focus.
Man, I tell you mentioned those names. I feel like I'm walking in tall cotton, man. Geez, Tom Daves has closed over 7,000 transactions, right? Number one in the world, KW 7 times. So it's pretty amazing. But no, so a little background on me. So my parents have both been brokers for 47 years. So I grew up in the business. I'm 44 and a half. And so, people say, oh gosh, it's in the blood. It's all I've known. That's true. I mean, they were doing it before I was born. And at a high level, my mom was the number one realtor in all of Placer County in the late 80s, early 90s. So I got to see someone perform at a very high level. And the longer I'm in the business now, or, 20 years, I'm more and more blown away at what she was able to accomplish. She was closing escrow on over 2 deals a week, every week. In fact, I think her best year, she did about 118, 120 deals. And nowadays you hear that, right? You hear and nothing to take away from like the Tom Daves team or Brent Gove team. They're phenomenal. But they have a team, right? And so all the agents' deals get credited to that one agent name. Whereas my mom doing 118, 120 deals, it was her and a part-time assistant and my dad who would go put up signs and take them down and do some termite work that needed to get a deal closed and, kind of look over some of her paperwork if she got in a bind on some of these deals because, they're both brokers, and just the support role of keeping her, churning and burning, if you will. And I mean, it just blows me away because there was no DocuSign. There was no smartphones. There was no email. Fax machine was like the big thing. I mean, they paid thousands of dollars for a fax machine. And, and it was, hey, press hard. There's 3 copies. And if you're still awake, they countered your counter. I can swing over to the house tonight and, get her done for you. And it's just a different world today, So that's what I grew up under, was this work ethic that was just amazing. I passed my DRE real estate exam at 19, and then a month later turned 20 and got started in my business with Coldwell Banker, which my parents owned a Coldwell Banker franchise. And then I realized that it was quite a large shadow that my mom cast, because whenever I would go and talk to potential clients, they would say, yeah, we're thinking of selling. I said, great. I'll give you a call. And they said, oh yeah, no problem. We'll just call your mom. It's fine. They all thought we worked together. And so I realized I needed to get out from underneath her shadow. So I went down to Roseville and joined the Coldwell Banker there. And then I was there for just under 5 years and was recruited by Don Yoakum, who you mentioned, who was the team leader of an upstart company called Keller Williams. And that was really the first company. This was back in 2000, really cutting edge. Actually, it was a disruptor in the real estate marketplace at that time, because they were the first company that had a cap. That was kind of unheard of at the time. And then they had this thing called profit sharing, where you could actually have an exit strategy that actually did not pan out to really produce the numbers that they had touted. But anyway, I left Coldwell Banker, went to Keller Williams, was there 10 years. And then you kind of fast forward and left the industry for about 4 years, built a network marketing business that took me all over the nation, and then over to Africa, South Africa, and Nigeria, and built, teams in Nigeria alone, over 1,000 individuals. And then I came back to real estate in 2016, got my broker's license, and not too long ago joined EXP once I really sat down with my business hat on and really studied the model and kind of had my eyes opened and went, oh, I see. That's why someone like a Tom Daves, who's, the top of the mountain at Keller Williams, the number one brokerage by agent count in the world, would leave all that and partial ownership in offices and come over to a little upstart EXP. And so when I really put my business hat on and saw it, Brett, I think you kind of had a similar experience, because I had heard about it and seen it and kind of poo-pooed it a little bit before. And that's when I had my aha moment and realized, wow, for me, I'll say this for me, I'd kind of be foolish not to make the move, even though it'd be uncomfortable. No, moving sucks. Is this rated PG? I can say that, right? Moving sucks in this show. Yeah. Nobody likes to move, right? But I realized, I said, look, there is no growth in your comfort zone. Human nature wants to stay comfortable. But the reality is we don't grow unless we get uncomfortable, kind of like a snake shedding its skin to be able to grow. So I said, well, I'm going to make the move over to EXP and believe it's real. Now, it was easier for me to believe it was real because I had some real titans in the industry that were absolutely killing it at EXP in passive income. Killing it to, 5 figures a month to then 6 figures a month. And I went, I don't need to question whether it's real or not. Right. So
absolutely. What a story and what introduction. I want to dig into a little bit more about that.
Sure.
And some of the model explained. We're going to go through that here in a bit, but I'm curious. I want to back up a little bit and just kind of focus on, you mentioned growing up in a real estate family, entrepreneur family, business family. It's kind of always been in the blood, right? It's amazing. You said your mom, 118 deals, by herself, right? With all of it's really mind blowing to think about that. So what an opportunity. But beyond that, I believe we've all been given certain gifts, Matt, right? And I think they're God-given gifts. And these gifts are given to us to be a blessing to help other people, right? And to serve other people and to serve our family, of course. So I'm curious, what is that one gift, Matt, that you've been given, that you believe, you were given, and how does that help how you serve and help people today when it comes to real estate?
That's a great question. And when you serve people in real estate, I'll break that down into 2 sections, because I think there's the client, the real estate client, right? Buyers and sellers and things of that nature. But then now with EXP and my shift of also basically building a brokerage within EXP that's spanning nationally and now internationally, on attracting agents. So I look at them as my client or customer as well, right? Like you came on board in my organization, and so I want to support you and do what I can to have you be a success, and the faster and we can get you a success, and the bigger the success, then the greater the story, and it just makes it easier to inspire others that because stories really sell. and I don't look at sales as a bad thing. I think life is sales. And so rather than facts, if you can create stories of success in others, along those lines of you help enough other people get what they want, you'll get what you want, right? So that really is something that I believe in with EXP and fires me up on the agent attraction side of things. I think one of my giftings, I know you mentioned one. I think we've been blessed with multiple things. Sometimes we just need to kind of ferret them out and dig them out. I think I'm an evangelist. I don't know. I tend to believe pretty quick, and I believe big, and I kind of go all in, which can be a detriment at times if you don't use wisdom and discernment. But as I'm older now and have skinned my knees a bunch of times on different things where I've jumped all in and wasn't as successful, I've gained, I believe, in some wisdom and discernment, be a little more tempered in my evangelistic endeavors, if you will. But I would say that would be an evangelist, that belief, and then perseverance. I'm just super perseverant. Relentless is another one, and fearless. I have no problem talking to anyone, and I believe we're all made, in God's image. So, we all put our pants on one leg at a time. In regards to buyers and sellers, I love working with both. They both come with different advantages. I tend to be more, if you understand the DISC testing and so on, DISC, I'm a very high D and high I. So I love people. I think people are just amazing. We're such a mixed bag of all sorts of things. And so it's fun to just really learn about people. But I would say the aspect of serving people and being a problem solver on the buyer and seller side, I love to negotiate. I love to get to the bottom line, and, time is money. And so if one area that I could improve, I would say, analyzing myself, would be the warm fuzzies and the empathy and so on, which the Lord blessed me with an amazingly empathetic wife. And so I get to learn from her every day on how I can improve my small empathy muscle. And, but we complement each other really well. So
that's awesome. So the perseverance, the negotiation, but also the gift of evangelism, right? The ability to inspire people and get people excited about new ideas, new opportunities, right? Which leads us now into what we're talking about, the model explained on for EXP. So for the realtor who's listening, right, walk through a little bit about what EXP is and how it's different, and just the model. Start explaining a little bit about how it's kind of like, the new Netflix versus perhaps the old Blockbuster.
Sure, right, or the new Uber versus taxis, or Airbnb versus hotels. Yeah, I mean, I think what we've realized is there's always disruptors in the marketplace, and disruptors, if you can see the vision and early, doesn't have to be right at the beginning actually, but earlier on the better. And embrace it, people tend to do very well. I will say, before I kind of start breaking down the model, that if a realtor is curious, they really should go to the model explained, past tense, explained.com, the model explained.com, and really watch it. I tell people, Brett, don't watch it during the day. Don't try to squeeze it in during the day. You'll get disrupted. You'll have text messages and notifications and phone calls and kids and dogs and husband, wives, and all this stuff, right? And you'll miss it. So I tell people, watch it, at the end of the evening, kids are down, get a glass of wine, get a notepad, or maybe early in the morning, cup of coffee or tea before your day gets going, and really study the model. Don't look at it on whether you would come to EXP or leave your current company, or you love your broker or your agents. And I mean, I hear this all the time. The reality is the agent friends you have and the brokers, they don't pay your bills. They don't set you up for retirement or anything of that. So that's why I say, put your business hat on, put your emotional hat aside, really study the model. And that was probably the best advice that people gave me, was don't look at making a move or whatever. Just really study the model. Be curious about the model. So with that being said, there were a couple things that really stood out to me. I joined Keller Williams as an example, one of the main attractions was profit sharing. And that was an exit strategy. That's how it was presented to me, was over time, you'll close transactions with realtors. Matt, you don't have to be a recruiter. Stay a realtor. But as you're doing deals, you're going to find those realtors that you really like. They're professional. They're problem solvers. They, working together with them, you kept a deal together and got the clients to the finish line. And those are the type of realtors that we'd like over at Keller Williams. This was, back in 2000 through 2010. And if you can just pique their interest on those that you like, and I will tell you, not all realtors out there I invited because I just didn't like doing a deal with them. But I would pique interest and then invite them to learn more from Don Yoakum, who was my team leader at the time. And so I tell my realtors now, I say, look, guys, don't be a recruiter. I mean, that's not your skill set, really. You're a realtor. You're really good at it. Stay in your lane of real estate. Close your 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 transactions. That's a lot of connections with other realtors on the other end. Those that you like, pique interest. And if they have some interest, then give them the modelexplained.com and then set them up for a follow-up call with me or Mr. Yoakum or Mr. Daves and so on, and let us share what we saw. So I'll do that. I'll share kind of some of the things that I saw. With Keller Williams, my best year, and I was recruiter of the year in what ended up becoming the number one office in the world, Brett, for Keller Williams. That was the Roseville office. My best year of profit sharing was $19,700. Now, that was in the top 5% of realtors in the nation, believe it or not. That was not retirement money. I mean, it was nice. I'd take an extra 20 grand, but I'm not going to retire on that, right? So I realized something was broken. Their model was a little broken. When I came across and saw EXP and I saw the tweak that they did, they took the model of Keller Williams, and instead of doing profit sharing, which is after all the bills are paid, if there's some profit left over, we'll share some. And that's why I talk to agents now, and some Keller Williams agents' offices are not making profit. And these agents have been there 3 years, maybe brought 10 agents to the company and helped the owner of the office. But I say, well, what do you get in profit share? And they go, oh yeah, no, I haven't gotten any profit share yet. I said, really? They go, yeah, our office isn't profitable yet. Right? I go, wow. So keep in mind, if I would have moved my organization that I had built by closing transactions at Keller Williams that paid me just under 20 grand and moved it over to EXP, no change. Okay. They pay revenue share, which is off the top. Okay. And they can do that because it's a cloud-based model. We're not stuck with brick and mortar, overhead and the copier and the coffee contract and the electricity and all that. And so they share back 50%, up to 50% of what they bring in revenue wise. So if I would have brought that model, that group over, I would have made between $200,000 to $300,000 a year. Now I can't make income claims. This is just my own analysis. So you need to run your own numbers and we can walk you through, whoever's listening to this. So that was just something that in my own figures, I figured, wow, I probably would make between $200,000 and $300,000 a year passive income versus 20,000. So to me, it paid, from what I saw, 10 times more. So that was a big thing. I went, wow, this truly is an exit strategy.
So let me jump on there. And so, yeah, the business hat, right? So same time and energy, right? Same business, selling real estate.
Yeah.
Already recruiting for Keller Williams, top 5% for their recruiting, and you're looking at $19,000 a year. And just applying that, just shifting from Keller Williams, right, to EXP. Yeah. And based upon their revenue sharing, which is, different from profit sharing after all the bills are paid.
Big difference.
$200,000 to $300,000. So 10x at least on that amount. And then you mentioned something too, that it's recurring, right? I don't know if Keller Williams, I guess, may have been recurring too, but let's just take that apart. But this is something where it's just a mathematical equation. So if I have my business hat on, whether it's I'm going with Wells Fargo or B of A. If B of A is paying me 0.5%, right, for my savings, or I can come over here and get, let's say, 12%, right, or 10% on my savings. It's pretty straightforward. Okay, so the math makes sense.
Absolutely.
What's number two?
Number two would be that it's agent owned. Okay. And that was really unique because I actually had the privilege, if you will, the opportunity to become an owner of about 3 Keller Williams offices. I was a very minority owner, 1-2%. I had to buy into it. If I remember right, it was about $20,000 per percent. Terrible investment, although I thought it was great at the time. But I look back now, I barely got my money back after 10 years. And if you factor in inflation, I lost a lot. So it was a terrible investment. When I saw EXP and that it had been approved and is traded on NASDAQ, where they're, audited every 90 to 120 days, every company on NASDAQ, and just this legitimacy, I went, wow, that's a different deal. Very different, right? In fact, I haven't looked at the stock today. I was on a Zoom webinar with a Keller Williams team, believe it or not, out of Texas. And Mr. Yoakum was on there with me, and he said we were trading around $18. Now, what's significant about that is when I joined the company just 7-8 months ago, it was trading at about $8 a share. Okay. So it's more than doubled in just 7-8 months since I've been here. And there's 5 different ways that you can earn as a realtor with EXP, that you can earn shares with EXP. I'll go over that real quick. So when you join EXP and you close your first transaction, your first sale, and that's every year after your anniversary date, you will get, I think it's $200 worth of EXP stock. When you cap with EXP, which right now the cap is 16,000. Okay. When you cap in our marketplace, average sale about 450, 500,000, you're going to cap between 7-8 transactions. Then they'll give you, I believe it's $400 worth of EXP stock. If you were to attract another agent that names you as their sponsor and they close their first deal, they're going to get their $200 for their first deal in stock. But then also you being the person that brought them over to EXP as their sponsor, you're going to get $200 worth of stock as well. The fourth way, for those that are, upper end producers that are what we call icon agents, which is pretty revolutionary in the marketplace, that is you cap whatever it, in our market, it's 8 transactions, let's say. You do an additional 20 deals after you cap. So for us, that's 28 deals. Somewhere like these agents in Texas, it was 250,000 average transaction. They're taking a little more to cap, maybe 12 deals, right? And then another 20. So they're looking at around 32 deals. But when you reach that, you become an icon. And what's really neat is changing the industry is EXP gives you back your $16,000 of cap money in company preferred stock. Okay. $16,000 back in preferred stock. So that's the fourth way. The fifth way is we kind of call it a quasi-retirement plan, is you can sign up voluntarily and have them take 5% out of your commissions, and they will use that 5% out of your commissions to purchase stock at a 10% discount. Kind of like a little quasi 401k plan, if you will. Now, the neat thing about all this, Brett, is it's something that you're not changing anything as a realtor. You're going to sell homes at Coldwell Banker or Better Homes or, Sotheby's, whatever it is, right? You come over to EXP, you're going to sell homes because we're a real estate company. Okay. And nobody, by the way, makes any revenue share if there aren't any homes sold, because we're a real estate company. That's where the revenue comes from. But, what's neat is you can earn stock and ownership in EXP, and a sizable amount, by the way, by simply doing what you're already doing, but doing it at EXP versus at Keller Williams or Coldwell Banker or Century 21 or Remax or whatever.
So make sure I got it right. And so there's the second part of this is the actual stock and ownership of the company, right? And how those things align, right?
Yeah.
And if it sounds like you were building Keller Williams' dream in retirement, right, for all of those years, right?
Yeah.
By closing those deals, and they're doing the profits and they're investing wherever they're investing. Whereas EXP, the revenue sharing, and now also the stock at a discount and all of the other tiers as you perform and grow your team, becomes very lucrative. Is that a fair summary?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
we have a gal in our organization. She was an icon I mean, she's an icon every year, but I ran into her in December of last year. And she goes, hey, I got that Icon Award stock when I iconed last year, got my 16,000. And do you know how much it's worth today? And I said, man, I don't know. She goes, over $40,000. Now, this was in December, Brett, of last year, back around when it was $8 a share. It's $18 a share now. So I haven't done the math, but it's more than doubled. So I think she told me it was 42 in December, 42,000. So she's probably pushing $90,000 worth of stock for something she was already doing. She was an icon agent, if you will, at her old company. She brings those 30, 40 transactions over here. She's an icon here now. And now she's growing her wealth in multiple streams, both in stock ownership. And she's obviously attracted some agents as well because they go, hey, why'd you move? See, that's what realtors don't get. They go, hey, I don't want to recruit. I go, hey, don't recruit. You know what'll happen? They organically start bringing people over because people go, hey, Brett, you left your previous company, and you're a big deal. They're like, why'd you move? And that's an easy conversation, right?
Yeah, it's a business decision, right? And you look at it, but even beyond that, for my answer, to answer your question, Matt, those two things were fine, right? And those things made sense business-wise. But for me, I wanted the team, right? I wanted the leadership. I wanted the training. And it actually was you and Don Yoakum. And Tom, I had actually met with Tom Daves. I did a presentation for he and his team about 7 months ago. Okay. But all of that together, it was the leadership, right? And it was the team, and it was the camaraderie, and then the training, right? I was skeptical. I was going, Matt, 5 years ago, I was approached, and this whole it feels a little bit like MLM. I'm just a real estate person, and then but once I go, wait, these are top performers. These are all real estate people, right? And they're still doing what they're doing, and there's no press to have to recruit people, right? You just keep doing what you're doing. You never have to recruit a person ever, right?
Yeah.
But if you just think about it and just look at the math, and you go Netflix versus the Blockbuster, right? And Airbnb versus the old hotel model, and then of course Uber and the taxis. There are better ways to do it and to take all of that profit and then be able to give it back to the people, right? So it's kind of like Robin Hood, right?
Yeah.
It's like taking from the rich to give to the poor. Because a lot of realtors, let's face it, they want to invest in commercial real estate. They want passive income, right? They want to be able to use that, but sometimes they get stuck in just the commission rat race, and they're not necessarily focused on creating these passive income streams. That's why I'm a big proponent of investing in multifamily properties, mobile home parks, senior housing, because you not only get the depreciation, but you get the cash flow, and you can partner with other people, and they can run a lot of that. So essentially, the way I look at the EXP model is you're partnering with EXP, and if you recruit, if you train, and you're going to get paid for that, and if you sell deals, you're going to get stock in that. And so they're really becoming a true partner, not just someone you're working for. Is that a fair summary, Matt?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And what's amazing? There's things that I have gained from EXP that I never would have guessed when I was analyzing it and first coming over. And I'll just share one of them is, I was sharing it with my wife this morning. I said, babe, my referral business it's the strongest it's ever been in 20 years of real estate. Not even close. I mean, it's not even remote. And the reason for that is the camaraderie and the connection, the culture, the collaboration that was great at Keller Williams when I was there. I have nothing negative to say. I mean, it was, they used to joke, oh, you drank the Kool-Aid, you're over at Keller Williams. Well, yeah, to a degree. And now we're starting to hear that with EXP. And I go, oh man, that's great to hear, because that means we got serious culture. We got serious collaboration. I mean, there are things that I have learned in real estate since joining EXP as a direct result of either EXP or the people that have come on board and their knowledge and talents, you being one of them, right? Where, wow, I'm, it seems like weekly I'm going, geez, I mean, I've been in this industry my entire life. You'd think I'd know it all. I'm not even close. I'm getting my mind blown all the time on stuff. I go, wow, that's amazing. Whoa, we can utilize that and tweak this. And that's a whole nother, vertical leverage, if you will, within this business. It's just,
and let's touch on that, if you don't mind, if we will, right? And so you just connected me with a group up in Reno. It's a new part of your team there. and they have a client who's looking to sell actually a cryptocurrency.
Yeah,
And they're
Bitcoin,
faced with
right?
Bitcoin. They're huge with this huge capital gains tax. And guess what the realtor wants to do? Well, they want to help them and buy actually multifamily properties, right?
Yeah.
And so it's been this conundrum, like the values went way up, but if they sell, they pay 30 to 50% in capital gains tax.
Yeah.
And so Matt was able to introduce me to her, and we walked through it, and she's like, oh my gosh, this could be the exact thing we've been waiting for.
Yeah.
They can sell and use the Deferred Sales Trust. And this is the cool part for her. Now, all the tax is deferred, which is really great, but then the funds can be used to buy investment real estate, which is a new commission for her.
Yep.
So it's and we're talking, multiple millions of dollars of cryptocurrency,
Oh,
where
yeah.
otherwise you wouldn't have that. And so that collaboration is awesome. We also just did a deal in Cupertino. It was a $3.1 million sale for a high-end primary homeowner. She lived right next to Apple headquarters, and she was faced with wanting to downsize, right? But she felt trapped because she only had what's called the $250,000 exclusion.
Yeah.
Right. Well, if you lived there 2 of the last 5 years, if you're married, it's $500, but $250 if you're single. And so she has this big house. She wants to move next to the grandkids. She wants to retire. And if you study Rich Dad Poor Dad, basically he says your house is actually not an investment; it's a liability. To get an investment, you want something that's producing cash flow, right? And that's appreciating and producing cash flow, and it's not something where it's just potentially appreciating, which you could argue that, but I like the way he puts that. So she wants to take that non-cash flowing producing asset, pay off the debt, move it into the Deferred Sales Trust, defer $400,000 of tax, and now she's living off the interest, okay, getting cash flow. And so that's the power for the realtor, that they can grab a strategy, use it to win more listings by adding more value when otherwise it wouldn't have been there, right? And so that's the idea of the Deferred Sales Trust, in case you're wondering. So any thoughts on that, Matt?
Oh, I think it's phenomenal. I mean, it's funny. We had Mr. Don Yoakum on here, right? He's been in the business, I think it's 24 years or something like that, right? From top realtor to coaching some of the top teams in the world. And I put him on here with you, and his mouth kind of dropped, right? He goes, how have I never heard of this? He goes, this is amazing. So yeah, it's quite an amazing system, if you will. And I would encourage all realtors to really plug into Brett there. And, Brett, you do a very good job of really breaking it down, explaining it, building trust, because it is a newer thing for people. They go, well, I don't know, is it proven? And you explain, hey, it's been proven, not just a year or 2 years, like multiple years. It's been audited. 15 times full on start to finish. And it's passed every single one of them successfully. No changes, right? No audit changes.
15 no change IRS audits. The biggest deal was $125 million in San Diego. Thousands of closes over 24 years. And the neat part is it's just an installment sale. That's a manufactured installment sale. And you can learn more about that at capitalgainstaxsolutions.com.
Yep.
But we want to dive back into EXP. So we explain like 1, 2. Let's talk about like training and collaboration, because to that point, I've been a part of it now for about 90 days. And I was skeptical about this online cloud thing, the training, like what it was going to be, what it wasn't going to be. And I've been blown away by the systems. In fact, it's like you're in this cloud-based world where I think a lot of the universities are going to this now. Of course, COVID-19 is changing a lot of things as well. But just talk about the training and the culture of collaboration. Obviously, the leadership has been amazing. But walk us through that for the agent who's like, yeah, but what kind of hands-on training and that am I going to get to pour into actually growing my real estate business?
Yeah, that's a great point. I'm glad you brought that up, because, gosh, there's so many different avenues I could go in regards to the training. One would be our team training, right? So you have tap into, Don Yoakum, who has taught some of the top teams in the world. He has a specific training platform that he utilizes, has a weekly mentorship training aspect. And then we have Randy Bird, who was a top Tom Ferry coach for 4 years and has brokered over 1,000 transactions and was a team leader for Keller Williams office. And he's got a full coaching business, and he's our success team above us. And so, he answers our calls, our texts, our emails. He's super engaged. And the power of the system, I would say, is you have 7 layers of people above you that have a vested interest in your success. Okay. And that's so huge. It's funny. I asked people at Keller Williams and I say, look, do you know who your sponsor was? And they go, oh yeah, it was Brett Swarts. And I said, oh, okay, great. Do you know who Brett's sponsor was? And they go, well, no. Did you ever hear from him? No, they didn't. Right. But you've heard from Tom, you've heard from Don Yoakum, you've heard from Brent Gove and myself and on, right? We want to see you succeed. So there's that team aspect of accountability and training and so on, which is phenomenal. Then you take EXP corporate, and we have 40 plus hours, and I think it's way more now, but I'm being conservative, 40 plus hours of live training weekly in EXP, the world in the cloud. Now, you take a brick and mortar model, impossible. They are not offering you 40 hours a week of live training. They just physically can't do it, right? In the location. It's got to be cloud-based in order to even remotely accomplish that feat. And I mentioned the Icon Award. These are agents that are doing 30 plus deals a year, right? One of the brilliant things that the founder of EXP put in place was, in order to get all 16,000 of your cap money back in preferred stock, is you have to give back at least an hour a week in some form or fashion to the culture of EXP. Okay. Now think about it. These are all top performing agents across the nation. Okay. Some of these agents are doing 2, 3, 4, 500 deals a year, their teams. Okay. So like Brent Gove, his team's consistently done over 200 deals a year, 16 plus years, maybe 20 years now. He gives an hour, I think, a week of time in the cloud and teaches a class on agent attraction. There's agents that have amazing open house systems, and they teach their systems. And what's interesting is, when I was at Keller Williams Roseville, Brett, we would have great training, but the agents themselves, if they did train, they wouldn't give you 100% of all their good stuff. And the reason for that is because even though we're all buddy, we're all KW family, whatever, you're still a competitor because we're in the same geographical area. And if we're competing on a listing in Roseville and we're both going for it, only one's going to walk away with that listing, right? So I don't want to give you my best stuff. I got to keep a little something for me for the competitive advantage, right? But when it's a realtor in Iowa or New York or Florida or Arizona, we have an abundance mentality with EXP, and we have no reason to hold back anything, because now it's not a geographic aspect. The world is EXP. We're one broker, all 50 states. Never been done before.
It's like the New World Order for real estate.
It's just incredible. I could just go on and all these different advantages that I didn't even realize until I even got on the inside.
Absolutely. And I say that tongue in cheek here because truly, like, what's the math, right? If you're selling a deal and it's X and the commissions are Y, right? Where is that all going? Is it going to the brick and mortar? Is it going to training? Is it going to you? Is it going to the owner of that company, right? Where is it all going, right? And it's either going to go to you and your family and your partners and associates and your colleagues, or it's going to go somewhere else. So we'll have a finite amount of time, and our expertise in real estate, it's 100% commission, right? So you got to make sure it's something that's going to pay off. I remember starting at Marcus and Millichap, and this was back in 2006. So as a commercial real estate agent here in Roseville, and it was some of the best training, amazing, right? And I was all in with them, and then they let my manager go. They pushed him out. Like, he had been there for 20 years, and the marketplace had shifted, and they fired him. And I'm going, a guy has put 20 years, and he was my mentor. He poured into me, and now he's gone. I'm going, well, why do I want to stay around? Like, right? they just, that doesn't give me confidence if I'm going to keep going for, and he he was one of the top guys, right? Wow. And so I'm going, all of what he built, everything, he doesn't get any stock, right? I mean, he may have got some stock, a part of that, but he doesn't get any recurring, all of the information he put into me. In fact, he left and I started to do more deals, and it's like, and he didn't get any of that either. So it's just like, you got to choose where you're going to invest with. The leadership's got to be there, the culture's got to be there, and the math has to make sense. So is that any thoughts on that, or is that what EXP is about?
Oh, yeah. I mean, absolutely. There's so much. I mean, I literally could just keep gushing about it, but I would say it's kind of like trying to describe what a banana tastes like to someone. The reality is they just need to try a banana and go, oh, I get it now. I see what you're excited about, whatever, right? There were things that I knew about just because I've been in the business 20 years. So I had a little bit of discernment and wisdom over time, what to look for. I also trusted immensely Tom Daves, Don Yoakum, Brent Gove. These are guys, Tom and Don, gosh, we used to do Bible studies together 20 years ago. So we've known each other a long, long time, and we've had success throughout the years. So when they came over, that spoke volumes to me. And I almost had the fear of loss, to be honest with you. I went, okay, what is my deal? Like, I need to go look at this again, right? I think I missed something. If these guys, because Don especially analyzes very strategic. And so, that's when I put my business hat on and really looked at it. And I went, I got it. Yeah, no, I'm over. I'm doing
Love it. So you ready for the lightning round? And then we'll tell everyone else where they can find you again. And by the way, it's the modelexplain.com if you want to jump into that video.
Yeah,
and learn more about that.
explained.
Yeah.
Yep.
But if you do go there and you like it, make sure to reach out to Matt Stewart. Matt, let's just give them that right now. Where could they find you if they're interested and want to, like, hey, I'd be open to having a conversation with Matt about it. Where could they call you? Where could they find you?
Yeah, absolutely. So my phone number is the best, my cell, right? So 916-718-2979. I'll say it again, 916-718-2979. Call me, text me. And then my email would be matthewstewartrealestate@gmail.com. Pretty simple.
Perfect. You ready for the lightning round?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
All right. Knowing what you know now, if you could go back to your 25-year-old self, what's the one golden nugget you would make sure you would do or no?
Oh, man. I would say really focus on passive and residual income as much as you can. I would buy more investment properties. But then also I would... I was very risk tolerant before, too much. So I would be a little less risk tolerant. I would be in a more solvent position, like I am now.
Makes sense. Thank you. What is the one book you've recommended or gifted the most in the past year?
Oh, well, always for me is the Holy Bible. I mean, that thing is so rich, and it's just like, I mean, no other book compares to all the wisdom in that book. There is a book I'm reading. My wife snagged it from me. I'd have it right now. It's called Success Principles by the guy, co-author of Chicken Soup for the Soul. We actually have we call Freedom Fridays, and it's an accountability group of the leaders within our organization. It's one of those other things that you brought up, right? That you go, that leadership, that structure. So we're all those that say, hey, we want to be held accountable. We want to do so much each day. And we have a WhatsApp where we chime in that we've accomplished it. And then we go through a chapter a week. And this book is really good in regards to actually doing things. And so it's a pretty phenomenal book. Success Principles by not Victor Hansen. I don't think it's the other guy. Anyway, I lost track.
Look it up. No, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Give me a digital or mobile resource you recommend for your business.
Oh, man.
KV Core?
KV Core is great. I'm still a baby at that, to be honest with you. I gotta, it's pretty robust. I would say I'm big in social media. So, all the apps, the Instagram, the Facebooks, and really utilizing and leveraging that is good.
Cool. Favorite leadership quote or theme you strive to live by, Matt?
Pops to mind is help enough other people get what they want and you'll get what you want.
Zig Ziglar. Love that.
Yeah.
What are you curious about right now, Matt?
I'm in my mid 40s. I'm 44 and a half, and COVID has hit at such an interesting time. And I'm normally, I am a very positive, upbeat, I think, believing type person. But that 40s is an interesting. You get very reflective. You're kind of like, gosh, all that chasing that I did early and so on. What was it for? And anyway, so I'm just really reflective a lot more as of late. And how can I be better? And how can I be a better leader? And and it's really about serving and significance versus the bottom line dollars and so on.
Absolutely love it. And after all your success, Matt, and after your journey, your struggles, and all of that you've learned in 44 and a half years, how do you stay centered in your values? And then how do you stay encouraged to charge forward to reach new goals?
You know, gosh, from 30 to 40, I probably went, well, I did go through the worst time of my life. It was a brutal decade. The Lord really just stripped me clean other than my health. And so one of the benefits from that was humility. I mean, when you get really stripped down, and I needed it, it was, I look back now, it was a good thing, even though it just sucked. But anyway, so I would say that's how I stay centered, is just, gosh, remembering all of that anguish and heartache and just different things that I went through during that 10 years. Daily Bible reading, quiet time before my day gets going is really, really valuable, and really just digesting the word and really understanding it. And I have a firm belief and understanding that it really is living. They call it the living word. There's no other book that is as transformative to a human soul than the Holy Bible. So, I would say that would be for me. It keeps me centered.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing, Matt, and thank you for sharing your story, right, and transparent with your work and the ideas and leadership in EXP, and explaining the model in such a practical way from a successful, ultra successful realtor. I'm going to encourage you to keep using the gifts and talents you've been given to bless others, right? And serve them in real estate and help them create passive income streams so they can leave a financial legacy and they can get freedom, right? More freedom when you have passive income coming in for your time and your energy. And with that, you want to leave our listeners with one last reminder of where they can find you and a last thought, and then we'll wrap it up.
Awesome. Well, first of all, I appreciate you, Brett, for utilizing this forum and asking me to come on. It's really an honor and a treat. My information, my cell phone, 916-718-2979. And then my email, MatthewStewartRealestate.com. MatthewStewartRealestate@gmail.com. Sorry. And then the modelexplained.com. And the last thought that I would leave with, if there are realtors, looking at this, is I think it's a mistake to try to look at it on the aspect of, would I make a move or not? Because we really are creatures of habit and comfort, especially during this time of uncertainty with COVID. We don't like to, rock the boat, if you will. You hear all these sayings, right? I don't want to rock the boat. If it's not broken, don't fix it. If it's working, don't change, all that stuff. And what I'm realizing as I'm getting older now is, that's not necessarily true. Actually, if you really want the ones that are really achievers and are making huge impacts in people's lives, they're the ones that are stretching themselves and getting uncomfortable and not just staying comfortable. So I would say, put your business hat on with the EXP, but don't look at it in regards to making a move, because you will try to look for things that will solidify your stance of, I'm staying put. Right? I would say, put your business hat on and really be curious. Just have this curious mind and this, how does this thing work? What's the model? And just really study the model. And I think it'll all be revealed. That's what it was for Don, Tom, and myself.
Well, I'm a believer. I joined EXP with my commercial real estate, and that's commercial real estate too, by the way, folks. Not just residential, which most of you are thinking about.
We got a lot of commercial realtors.
Sold nearly $100 million of commercial real estate, and have some new listings coming up too. And I'm so excited to see the horsepower of this network, in the community with that, and to take it more than just local brokerage, but literally across the nation, and the fastest growing real estate company in the world. So if you also want to reach out to me and hear my story about moving over to EXP, please reach out to me, capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. Schedule a one-on-one consultation with me, and we can chat about that. I love giving back to the real estate community, especially for fellow realtors or commercial real estate brokers. And with that, Matt, thanks for being on the show, and thank you to our listeners for listening to another episode of the Capital Gains Tax Solutions podcast. As always, we believe most high net worth individuals and those who help them, such as realtors, right, struggle with clarifying their clients' capital gains tax deferral options. Not having a clear plan is the enemy, and using a proven tax deferral strategy, such as the Deferred Sales Trust, is the best way for you to grow your wealth. Hey, I'm your host, Brett Swarts, and I wish you the all the best in your endeavors and in your consideration of EXP. Thanks so much. Please rate, review, subscribe, leave anything in the comments here. We love that here on Facebook for somebody. Thanks so much.
Awesome.
You have just listened to another information-packed episode of Expert Commercial Real Estate Secrets Podcast with Brett Swarts. We hope you enjoyed today's show and found it valuable. Visit expertcresecrets.com to access the show notes and to access more resources. That's expertcresecrets.com. Don't forget to leave a review and join us again next time.